And welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. Right now, very happy to have back on Anthony Scaramucci, a lawyer, a founder of Skybridge Capital, investment fund based in New York. Obviously, he serves as White House communications director under Donald Trump, and author of the recent book, which we covered on this show via my salon interview, From Wall Street to the White House and Back, and co-host of the Rest is Politics U.S. version. Well, you guys did, Anthony, welcome to the show. I saw the big thing you did at the O2 Arena
It was
in
quite
London.
extraordinary. Yeah, I mean, well, I can't take any credit for that. There's two cult leaders there. That's Alistair Campbell and Rory Stewart. They had 15,000 people. I was a guest appearance in the
Okay.
second half of the show, so I can't take any credit for it. But I have to tell you that speaking on stage in front of 15,000 people was exhilarating. I will confess that. But you look great. Who's going to win the
Good.
election, Dean? You're a
My
knowledgeable
friend,
guy.
I'm telling you, it's all turnout. It's whoever wants this more. In the last 2 weeks of this election, I've just been talking to Democratic state chair in North Carolina. Right before you came on, we chatted with her about what she's seeing, and we're talking. Just had Georgia people on yesterday. Who wants to preserve our republic more, or let us go into what John Kelly, the former general, retired general, said yesterday is fascism. I mean, so I got to get your reaction. John Kelly, who you know well, serves as chief of staff. I believe he's the one that actually fired you, if I recall correctly, to our conversation years ago. U.S. Marine Corps four-star general said to the New York Times and the Atlantic that Donald Trump wanted generals like Hitler, and that absolute loyalty, and equated Donald Trump to being someone who's embracing fascism from an academic point of view, what it really means historically, not this like hyperbolically. What's your reaction to what John Kelly said?
Well, I mean, he has said that to me before. I mean, him and I are close personal friends. Deirdre and I are close to him and Karen. I mean, just for everybody's reference point, on the 31st of July, he fired me. Okay, we shook hands as like gentlemen, and we got a beer after he left the White House, which is, good sportsmanship. We became close. He's come to my conferences. I've gone to the Marine Corps fundraisers on his behalf and supported his family. He's a Gold Star family member. He's a uh, four-star general. I mean, I believe him, but also remember, Jeff Goldberg said there were other people in the room that took notes on these meetings, and they supplied their notes to Jeff Goldberg. So it's not John Kelly's word against his. Now,
Mm-hmm.
interestingly enough, Mark Meadows was in the room, and Mark Meadows is now putting out on Twitter that Trump did not say that. Kash Patel says he didn't say that. There are five or six other people that said he said it. And so, my sarcasm on X is, oh, so everybody's lying except for the orange clown, the fat bloviating clown and the con man that's got 34 felony convictions, caught in the courts, in the civil courts as a rapist. He's not lying, but four-star patriotic generals are lying. So the question is, what the hell is really going on? So there's a very large group of Americans that are accepting this behavior. Donald Trump's talking about the penis size of Arnold Palmer over the weekend. He's saying things that you would not find acceptable in a sunsetting grandparent, but yet he's going to get 50, 70, 80 million votes. I don't know how many votes he's going to get. So to me, I think she'll win, but I think it's too close. And you have to then ask yourself, how did this be this close? We have a deranged lunatic running for the presidency. We have generals calling him a fascist, General Milley, General Kelly. So it's not just one, it's two.
Mm-hmm.
You have 40 people on his staff that said that his behavior inside the White House, troubling, dangerous, despicable, illegal, unlawful. But he's still got 80% of the votes. You have Bill Ackman, who's obviously a very bright guy. And if we're measuring things by money, he's way brighter than me. He's got more money than me. He's multi-billionaire. He's on TV today saying, well, that's just one guy's opinion of Donald Trump. Okay, Bill. I mean, come on. This is reprehensible, bizarre behavior. And if we're tolerating it, what does it really say about us? Forget about Donald Trump for a second.
Mm-hmm.
The United States could elect this man. We had 4 years of data while he was president. We've had 9 years of his behavior. Yes, I did support him. Yes, I was on his transition team. Yes, I served unceremoniously in the White House for 11 days, but at least I'm a man. By 2019, I said, geez, I'm really very sorry. I can't support this human being anymore. Here are the 25, 30, 50, 100 reasons why. Things have gotten worse, Dean,
Hmm.
since 2019, not better. He's downward shifted. And I'll just finish before you ask me another question. He talks about non-white immigrants to the United States like they're vermin. He talks about non-white immigrants in a dehumanizing way. They're eating dogs and cats. It's us versus them. He's using them as scapegoating props on his campaign stumps. He talks about them the way the National Socialists talked about the Jews in the 1930s. So that on its own, prima facie, should be disqualifying. But then you have to ask yourself, I have to ask myself, why is that not disqualifying? Well, if you listed
Hmm.
all of these things, I mean, I don't know, could he be caught setting fire to babies if there was like video of him setting fire to babies? No problem. He's Donald Trump. It's okay. So
That's
what
part of it, Anthony. I
what
mean, Anthony,
is the
I
blast shield? What is the blast shield that he has? Tim Waltz tells a fib that he was in Tiananmen Square during the Chinese conflict on June 4th of 1989. He wasn't there. He has to have a comeuppance about it. And people, a ton of bricks hit him. Donald Trump tells a lie once every 90 seconds. Hey, geez, that's absolutely no problem.
well, is that partly corporate media? I mean, the way they cover this. I mean, to me, corporate media played a role in normalizing Donald Trump. And you could argue that if Merrick Garland had moved swiftly and charged Trump sooner, then it would have been harder to normalize him. But I look at corporate media and the way they covered right now. It's Trump versus Trump. This campaign. It's not Harris versus Trump. It's Trump said this. Did he mean that? Back and forth and suck up all the oxygen in the race. So I have a great deal of frustration towards corporate media. Not there are great journalists in that world. I'm just talking in the bigger picture of it. What do you think?
I don't know I don't know the answer, my brother. I wish I knew the answer. I don't know the answer. I can't figure it out.
Some people like what Trump's about. You have to be
Yeah,
honest with that. We have to accept that.
I think they like in theory what he's about. I don't think they're going to like if he's bringing the National Guard out and shooting
Hmm.
at the kneecaps of protesters. I don't think they're going to like him bringing the U.S. Army to meet his political adversaries and cause them harm. I don't think they're going to like when he starts listing the enemies list that he has, and he goes through the enemies list and he has treason tribunals, and he tries to get Mark Milley electrocuted in the electric chair, which he is saying. I
Hmm.
don't think they're going to like him pulling FCC licenses on people that are exercising their free speech on broadcast networks that don't like him. I don't know. Maybe they will like that. I don't know. I mean,
Some will.
you're you're
Some
you're
look.
you're young. You're younger
I
than me. You're younger
may
than me. But I have
not much
grandparents.
younger. Right.
I have grandparents that came to the country as immigrants.
Hmm.
I have uncles that were born in the country, but they're immigrants from Italian American families that fought in World War II. My uncle Anthony, who I'm named after, was on Normandy Beach
Wow.
alongside of his
That's remarkable.
army infantry fighting the Nazis, trying to turn back the scourge of fascist violence. 400,000 Americans died. And then we have somebody that's speaking like this. I don't know. If you tell me, that's the direction we're going in, I'm worried. I'm not,
Me
look,
too.
you get
Sure.
the democracy you deserve. I'll remind everybody that's on your show on the 30th of January, 1933. Adolf Hitler was democratically elected Chancellor of Germany. So he didn't seize power. He didn't take dictatorial powers on day one. He was democratically elected. Moreover, there's a very painful mural in Yad Vashem. Yad Vashem is the very famous
Hmm.
in Jerusalem. It's a very famous Holocaust museum commemorating the deaths of all of these beautiful people that innocently died at the hands of the Nazis. And there's one mural in there that I will never forget for the rest of my life. It says on the wall that the Jews lived peacefully in Germany. The Jews lived peacefully in Germany for 500 years. Hitler came along. He said this incendiary sort of rhetoric. 60% of the people said, okay, I got to get out of this country. So they left. 40% of the people said, he's kidding. He doesn't mean that. He's just saying that. He doesn't really mean that. They stayed and got incinerated, Dean. So I don't know. I'm going to speak out against it. I'm campaigning. I'm knocking on doors. I joined General Kelly, General Mattis. I joined H.R. McMaster. I joined Mark Esper, former Secretary of Defense. I joined National Security Advisor John Bolton and 40 other people. Alyssa Farr, who was, she succeeded me in as a comms director for Trump. There are 40 of us that have said, please, we saw this man up close. We know how dangerous he is. We know what his tendencies are. We're begging you not to vote for him. I mean, what could Kamala Harris do? She get a bad tax policy that you may not agree with? What could she possibly do? She believes in the system. She believes in the architecture of the system. What could she do? She's a constitutionalist. Right. She's a traditionalist. She believes in a rule-based order for our national. She's not praising dictators.
Okay, I agree with you.
What am I, you're a very smart guy. You talked to a lot of people. Tell me what I'm missing and tell me, okay, Mooch, this guy's winning. Here's why he's winning, because we have more people that, okay, I actually
everyone's got a reason, Mooch, for why they vote for him. I talked to some of them.
I think his supporters are hoping he doesn't live up to his campaign promises. They say to me, oh, he doesn't really mean that. Okay.
Yesterday, at an event at the Doral, he told the crowd the enemy within thing, and they cheered. Look, I think we are being like the people who stayed in Germany. If you don't watch his rallies, and that's why Vice President Harris playing the clip of Trump saying over and over, the enemy within was important. It's not a one-off. This is part of his foundation of his campaign, and they cheer. And that's the part that's unnerving. He could, like you say, Anthony, he could say anything, but it's the response that's so jarring. I don't think everyone supporting Trump pays attention to this minutia, but the hardcore MAGA, they do. They know exactly what's going on. The ones who go to the rally and they follow and they cheer, right. And they love it. And that's the scary part. And what are they capable? What is he capable of? And what are they capable of to do and support? It goes right back to 1930s Germany. No one thought Hitler was capable of doing what he was going to do, or that it was rhetoric gets in. You have John Kelly talking about Trump said he wanted the loyalty of the generals. The generals and all in the military in Germany were required by law to swear an oath to Adolf Hitler, and not to the Constitution, not to the German nation, to Hitler. And that's what Trump wants now. And before it was subtle. Now he wants it expressed. That's the sense.
So I'd like to say a few things about that.
Of course,
okay. So he wants to take the FBI out of the Department of Justice. He wants to have it reporting directly to him. So he wants the FBI to be his Gestapo. It's right there in the transition documents that they're espousing. So here's the thing. And here's the thing I want your people. I want your people, that your listeners, your loyal supporters, to really think about for a second. There are a group of people in the United States that believe fascism is the answer. There's a group of people in the United States that believes that the democracy is too messy and that we need a strong leader, efficient leader, clean up the democracy, let a few smart guys run the country. And my message to your listeners, your viewers, is that has never worked. It sounds good. It's a panacea, but it has never worked. It's never worked in a civilization because it always devolves into klepto-capitalism. It always devolves into klepto-cronyism. It always devolves into a funnel of people at the top that includes the leader's family members and a few friends sucking all of the economic rent out of the system, lots of corruption, everyone else getting screwed over. Whether it's Great Britain, United States, Australia, these systems were set up by very smart people to broaden prosperity, to broaden equality, and to broaden freedom. And the way you do that is you decentralize the government. You have checks and balances, 3 or 4 branches of the government. There's 3 branches for us, but there's the 4th estate, which is our media, that check on everybody, and to make sure that nobody is in power. There's a thing that Kelly said and I listened to the whole interview and I read the New York Times
Hmm.
piece. He said Trump wants to be the most powerful person in the world. He doesn't understand why the presidency doesn't have that power. There's a very famous conversation that Trump had with Paul Ryan. He was fingering him in the Oval Office. He said, "You work for me. You work for me." And Paul Ryan's looking at him. I'm in a totally separate article of the Constitution. I don't work for you. And moreover, uh, you know, we work for the American people. Neither one of us are working for each other. We're working for the American people. But there is a group, Dean, that they believe that this is the answer. I'm telling you, look through history. It may
I,
work for a minute. The trains ran on time under Mussolini for 2 years, and then they hung him upside down. Okay. Hitler blew his head off in a bunker. It doesn't work. Okay. The strong men that are running these countries and 5.7 billion people are living under some level of autocracy. Ask the people in Iran if it's working. Ask the people in Russia. This is how they want to live with these crippling sanctions. Ask the people if it's working. It's not working.
uh,
Okay. This is a messy thing. What did Churchill say? Democracy is the worst form of government until you consider every other form of government.
how does this end for Trump?
Well, look, I mean, it's too close to call. I think she's going to win because she's got the money, the organization, and I think there are more good people in the country. I think
Hmm.
there are people that are saying, "Hey, man, this is too much for me. I got to take a pass on this." And I think he loses. Okay, and if he loses, I'm in the contrarian view that he will not try to foment any violent revolution or an insurrection because he has a sentencing hanging over him on
Hmm.
November the 26th. So
Hmm.
3 weeks after the election, 34 felony count, he's got to stand before a judge and be sentenced. If he's fomenting violence in the 3 weeks after the election, they're going to put him in jail. There's no question about that in my mind. I think if he doesn't do that, and he says, I'm never going to accept a defeat, but I'm not suggesting violence, and he slinks away, they won't put him in jail because I don't think they want to put a former president, no matter how bad he is, in jail. But if he's out there blowing dog whistles and he says, I want you to shoot your neighbors that didn't vote for me, and you have violence in the streets in the United States, he's going straight to jail. And so I'm the contrarian on this. A lot of my friends think that's going to happen. I do
Hmm.
not think that that's going to happen. And if he wins, he wins. And then, I don't know. I'm looking in your house. You look like you have a nice house. Maybe there's a
An
place I could
apartment.
live.
It's an apartment. I live in New York
Apartment.
City.
All
I
right. There's no
mean,
basement.
we'll be
Is there a
fleeing.
storage? In that
I'll,
apartment
I'll
building
live
you
in
live in, is there a
storage.
storage facility? Maybe I can live there. I don't
Look, I'm
know.
fleeing to Jersey where I'm from if things go south. That's in Jersey, we're strong. We'll unite. I'll hang out with my Italian and Arab people, being half Arab, half Italian. Hang out with both of them. We'll have safety in
Oh, well, I
numbers.
may, I may have to move out there with it. Look, I'm on the
Jersey's fine.
list.
Paramus,
And,
you're on the list. What happens? I mean, John
somebody
Kelly's.
told me I was 48th on the list. My reaction to that was, geez, how am I not higher on the list?
You're
I'm
higher
working.
on the list now,
I'm
Anthony.
working very hard. I'm trying to break into the top 10 of Trump's enemies list. I've got 13 days to go, Dean, and I'm working as hard as I can to get on that list higher. I'm already on the list. I just like to get into the top 10.
I'll see if I can. I'll send this to the Trump family. See what we can do. Last two things. Elon Musk. At this point, he's like minister of propaganda. This guy's using his platform today again with the Atlantic stuff, peddling fake information about Michigan, fake information. Giving the money is all legal. That's fine. That's the way super PACs work. That's how you can do it. And what he's doing. But there's other misinformation of this guy. What do you think his end game is? I mean, he's the wealthiest guy in the world. It can't just be more money.
I mean, listen, I think he's got a little bit of an emotional IQ deficit. Okay. He's a very smart guy. He's built
Mhm.
some very successful companies, and you got to give him credit for all of that. And I love his success as an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
I certainly want there to be equal opportunity in the United States. I do not want equal outcomes. He deserves every measure of his success, but I think he has a EQ deficit. His emotional quotient is down. He said he was taking over Twitter so that it would be free speech and a fair platform. And he said that the prior regime at Twitter was linked more to the Democrats and he wanted to make it fairer. He didn't do that. He took the thing and he lurched it very hard to the left, and the algorithms are now lurching very hard to the left. And he's pouring information misinformation into the marketplace now to influence the election. Now, I don't know him personally, but
Mhm.
I think he thinks he's in trouble. I think he's bought into some of this deep state conspiracy. I think he's bought into some of this lawfare nonsense. And I think he thinks if she wins, he ends up in some kind of left wing gulag, which is why he's tripling down. I mean, it's ridiculous, Dean. Okay. I'm just telling you what he thinks.
No, I
That,
understand, but I'm
okay.
not laughing at you. I'm the idea laughing at the idea we're going to put you in prison for your
Yeah, I
speech
mean,
where Donald
but
Trump
I
says
but I really
going to
do
be.
think he believes that, okay? And so that's why he's got $1 million a day going to people that are signing his petition. That's why he's corrupted these algorithms. That's why he's out there giving speeches in these town hall meetings. Okay, and that's why they're supporting somebody that's openly fascist. So he's made the bet. I'm with Trump. He won't put me in a gulag. He'll put Anthony Scaramucci in a gulag, but he's not going to put me in a gulag. And if I'm not with Trump, maybe she puts me in the gulag. I don't know, but I think he thinks that. Otherwise, why the hell would he be doing this?
Look, last thing you mentioned the people in Germany, the ones who took him seriously, Hitler and his rise to power, left the country. Are you really concerned? I mean, are you concerned he gets in? You're part of the enemy within, and maybe he directs the DOJ to go after you.
Um, yeah, I would say that I'm concerned. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, I have it at a 6. I take him seriously. I don't have it at a 10.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to leave the country. I prefer to be a dissident in this country. And if he ends up arresting me or does something like that, I'll be arrested. This is my home and this is my country. And I'm in that 40% category where I'm not leaving. And so we'll see what he does and see if we can fight him. But listen, maybe she'll win. I mean, it's close.
I right.
She's got the money. She's well organized. She's thoughtful. She's well spoken. She's opened her tent. She's allowed me to be part of her campaign. She let me help her on debate prep. She put me in the spin
Hmm.
room. Her campaign deployed me over the weekend in Pennsylvania. She's working with Liz Cheney. If Bernie Sanders, Liz and Dick Cheney, and Anthony Scaramucci walked into a bar, it's a pretty interesting mix of people, right? I
It's a
don't have a
great
punch.
mix.
I don't have a punchline
No,
for that, Dean, but you get my point.
I get your point. And very last thing, she did an amazing job in the debate. And I'm so disappointed in the corporate media for not pressuring Donald Trump more to do another debate with her. American voters deserve to see them back on the stage, not because
Well,
we know
he
it's going to help her, it's going to, but they should be doing their job. That's where my frustration with the corporate media. They'll cover McDonald's fake service and not pressure him every time. Why won't you do another debate? Are you afraid of her? Because he is afraid of her. We know that.
so he wants to he wanted to debate her. He's terrible at these debates, and he got dissuaded, uh, stopped from doing another debate by his staff. Okay,
Uh,
they were like, okay, you're going to get annihilated. We gotta make sure that this doesn't happen again.
That was all right. Anthony, it's great seeing you. Thank you for making time in
Always,
between
man. I
everything
appreciate it,
else.
brother.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
visit you in the gulag if he wins, but I really believe she's gonna win, to be honest. In my heart, I think women are gonna win this election. Look at the turnout among women, and I think that'll tell you how this does. If the gap is where I think it's gonna continue to be, we're gonna win. So thanks, brother. Keep up the
All
good
right. Well,
fight.
if we win, can you invite me back on and we can have like a
Of
whole,
course. You're welcome
we
to
can have
come on
like a
whenever you want. Talk
post
about
conversation. I mean, you're a
give
lot
me
cheaper than my therapist, Dean. That's the
this
reason why I want to
right.
come
We'll
back on.
talk it. And then give me
All
some
right.
stock tips. That's how I'll get paid.
All
A
all
lot of
right.
stuff. My friends at
Good.
Goldman are telling me scary things. And we priced in Trump winning. I'm like, stop doing that. All right, my friend. Nice seeing you,
All
Anthony.
right. God bless, man.